Is moving abroad the right thing for you, or would you be better off being more nomadic and slow traveling? In this video, I'm going to share with you why I chose to move to France long term versus being nomadic, and some things you can do to help figure out which is best for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you've already subscribed, I really appreciate it. If you're new here, welcome, and please consider subscribing and clicking that notification bell so that each time I upload a video about life in France or moving abroad or finding the confidence and courage to live life on your terms, you'll be notified. I'm Patricia Brooks, and that's exactly what I did. I found the confidence and courage in 2018 to leave my project management job in Richmond, Virginia, and move to the south of France to start anew. Wasn't really sure what life had in store for me, but I knew I needed to be living in France. Now, I'm going to share with you why living in France long-term versus being nomadic is the thing I chose, and some things you can do to help make your own decision. Okay, now this is going to be a ride-along video, so enjoy the sights of southern France. All right, so why did I choose to move to France long-term versus being more nomadic? Well, the answer was pretty simple. The idea of being nomadic never crossed my mind, but it never crossed my mind because I knew, my intuition told me I needed to be living in a French-speaking country. It wasn't like, oh, you need to be bouncing around from this French-speaking country to the other. It was like, no, you need to be living in a French-speaking country. And in particular, you need to be living in France. And so I eventually listened to my intuition and made things happen. But there are other reasons why I am not nomadic or doing the slow travel thing, and I am putting down roots here in France. And the first reason is I've never been much of a traveler. When I was younger, when I would go on vacation, getting to the place felt hard. Getting home from the place felt hard. And even sometimes while I was at the place, it never really lit me up. I could hear myself saying, yeah, this place is nice, but I can't wait to be home in my own bed. And so, not a big traveler. Today, I'm still not that much of a traveler. And that leads me to the second point, is that I'm more of a homebody, right? I lived in my home in Richmond, Virginia for just about 20 years. I never considered moving to another city or another state. It was home to me. I put down roots. This is where I was going to be for some time. And it was right for me until it wasn't. And I got that urge to live in a foreign country. All right. Another reason that I chose to put down roots here versus being more nomadic was because I am a fairly deep person. I like to have deep conversations. I like to learn things on a deep level. I like to get to know people on a deep level. And so being someplace for 6 months, a year, just didn't really go along with what is most important to me. So that's why I'm living in France versus being more nomadic and exploring different countries and cultures. So that's it in a nutshell. Do you have a sense of what you prefer? Being more nomadic or putting down roots in a country? Let me know in the comments. Now, over the course of building my program to help women move abroad confidently and sustainably, I've spoken to a lot of people on the subject of moving abroad. And sometimes people are clear on where they want to go, why they want to go on a very deep level. And other times, they're not so clear. They're not so clear on the place. They're not so clear on what that looks like. Does that mean living someplace for a year and going back to the States? Does it mean living there for multiple years and then figuring out what the next move is? Does it mean traveling for 6 months and living in a place for 6 months and then moving on to the next place? So sometimes they're just not really clear on how that's going to look for them. And I can understand that because we have so many options and we see so much on the internet now of people living different kinds of lifestyles abroad. And so to pick a path feels a little bit daunting. Which path is the right path for you? Well, in deciding that and figuring that out, there are a few things that you can do to figure it out. The first thing I recommend is to be still, to get in touch with your deeper self and listen and hear and feel for the answers, because I believe we have the answers within us. So why not go for a walk in the woods or sit by a stream and just be and hear and feel and listen to what comes to you? Because a lot of times we have the answers, they're right there, but we've got so much going on in our lives, we can't even hear what those answers are. All right. So that's the first recommendation. Another thing I like to do when I have a question that I'm struggling to answer is I like to go to bed at night and I like to, say out loud, in the morning, I'm going to know whether I should do A or B. Sometimes it helps to write it out too. And then, go to bed, put it to rest. And when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself, what sense do I have on this decision I need to make? And oftentimes it's crystal clear. It's like, yeah, I don't need to be doing this, and this is why. And so that can be a helpful tool as well. A lot of times the women I speak to aren't really sure of the where, which makes it harder to even think that this could be a real thing. And they aren't really sure on the where because they haven't done a lot of traveling. And so that could be a problem in not knowing whether or not you want to live someplace long term or if you just want to bop about the world. So if you haven't traveled a lot and you are in this situation of, I'm not really sure where, then traveling more will help you to get a sense of the things you like, sense of the things you don't like, how you felt in a certain place. Because I'm a big proponent of living someplace that feels good to you, right? If you're going to turn your life upside down, you might as well be in a place that you enjoy being, right? So that is another thing that you can do to help figure out what is best for you. And I know that this can be a source of contention because when we are undecided, we want to do something, but we're undecided, it causes us not to go forward on either path and we feel stalled and like this will never happen. So being able to decide or maybe even do things that will lead to a decision can help bring some relief to that uncomfortable place that you might find yourself in. I think that social media is wonderful and we can learn a lot and we can from everybody's experiences, but sometimes that can cloud our own decisions or what we feel is right for us. We see somebody doing this thing over here and that looks exciting. And then we see somebody doing something slightly different and that looks exciting. And then we think, well, I'm not really sure which is best for me. And then we can go around in circles, right? And so one thing you might also want to do is go on a social media fast for a few days, a week, or longer, so you can get some space between having to decide, number one, but also stop the noise and get more in tune with what you truly want. And then you can go forward from there and not feel pressure to go one way or another. Okay? I know that before I made my move to France, one of the ideas I had was to do a workaway. Workaway is an exchange where somebody puts you up in their house and they feed you, and then you help out on their farm or you help them restore their house or whatever their project is. And I remember getting so excited about this idea. I saw it on the internet and I told a friend, I told you I'm moving to France and this could be a way I could do it. My friend laughed at me. She just laughed and laughed and laughed. She said, Patricia, I know you. I can't see you living in somebody's attic, picking apples off their trees so that you can live in a foreign country. You're too spoiled for that. And I was a little hurt because I thought it was a really good idea. But after I stepped away and thought about it, I'm like, oh yeah, Patricia, that just doesn't feel right to you. You want your own space. Now, workaway is a great way to do it if that is something you're inclined to do. But that just wasn't my path. But the internet gave me the suggestion and I thought, oh, yeah. And the talk of saving money, that really kind of appealed to me. And so I almost went down that path, but it wasn't right for me. So I think getting some distance from what everybody else is doing and just, being with yourself and getting to know yourself can help a lot in this area. And then finally, this goes along with that last one, is follow your heart. I know that I am a very logical person, have always been, and I would err on the side of whatever seemed logical was the path I'd go down, even if it didn't feel good. Even if in the pit of my stomach I said, no, run the other way, do the opposite thing, I would do the logical thing. And oftentimes, doing the logical thing was painful because, number one, I had it all planned out in my head how it was going to go, and it never went that way. And then I had some lessons to learn from not following my instinct or my intuition. And it's taken me a while to listen to and to trust my intuition. But I had some hard lessons, and now I'm more in tune with that. And so I think that listening to, following your heart is always a good idea. I think we can have experience on either side where we listen to our logic and it takes us down a path that maybe we wish we could have avoided, but we needed to go there because we needed that experience for whatever reason. And sometimes we follow our hearts and we go down that path, and that's the path that we need to go down. So there's not a right or wrong path, but there are experiences that maybe we would prefer to have or not have. And I believe that bringing your heart into the equation can help you with that. All right. So those are some things you can do to gain some clarity on which path is right for you. And there are more than two paths, right? You can move abroad long term. You can move abroad for a year. You can move abroad for a couple of years to get a master's. You can slow travel and be in one country for 3 months and the next country for 4 months. You could even say, I've got 2 home bases. I'm living 6 months of the year in one country and 6 months of the year in another country, right? There are so many ways to slice and dice it. So just because I focused on these 2 paths, those are the most common paths or questions that people have, doesn't mean that those are the only ones. So how do you decide, what are some tips you can share to help others make decisions that might feel hard? Let me know in the comments. Now, if you are not someone who is unsure of whether they should move abroad or where they should move abroad and are ready to take the next step to get there, I'd love to have a conversation to see where you are, where you want to be, what might be holding you back, and if our working together might help get you there sooner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to my calendar in the description where you can find a time for us to talk. And I look forward to that. Now, I hope that you have found this video helpful, insightful, informative. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Be sure to subscribe. And I will see you again next time. Bye for now.